You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts.
All right, Black and White Sports supporters. Well, a couple of weeks ago, I made a video about the fact that Diego Pavia, a very controversial quarterback coming out of Vanderbilt, a guy who I think will be a bigger and bigger story as we get closer to the draft, and I suspect the draft is going to cover Diego quite a bit. I'm sure they'll set up the cameras at the household and show them all standing around partying and all these kind of things, right? Well, Diego's got a couple of issues. Number one, he's short. Just from a football standpoint, he's now when he got to the combine, they measured him at 5'10" and a quarter, and that's after the Senior Bowl measured him at 5'9" and 7/8. I'm still trying to figure out how he grew. And of course, the entire meltdown that surrounded the Heisman Trophy going to Fernando Mendoza. People that Diego Pavia was around was saying F Indiana. He was saying F the Heisman voters. They were carrying props at the club. It was just a total nightmare, something that nobody that's got NFL quarterback aspirations should ever be a part of, right? The fact is, and people hate when I say this, I don't give a shit because it's true. The NFL and their coaches and their general manager, the personnel people, the owners, the scouts, they want any quarterback to conduct themselves as if they're Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. All right? They want that kind of football geekdom, nerddom, all right? That razor focus. And they want tunnel vision. They want no outside distractions, attitude, ego, none of that. Right? None of the celebrate. I mean, for all the things, Shadur Sanders celebrating, raising his hand. Whether people like it or not, NFL coaches hate that shit. They do. All right? One could argue, okay, should they? I don't know. That's not my argument. I'm just telling you, they can't stand it. So, the point is, all the physical limitations combined with the perceived attitude situation, because there was all kinds of attitude issues throughout Vanderbilt and before that when he was at the previous school, and just the ego there was going to be a turnoff to NFL teams. And then came the news that he was actually kicking it with Johnny Manziel. And I made a video on that because I was like, what are you doing? Hanging out with Johnny Manziel, of all people. NFL guys are watching this. They're watching you right now. Hanging out with Johnny Manziel. Now, there's a world where could hanging out around Johnny Manziel, who went through hell and obviously did not handle things himself the right way? Is there a world where you might actually get something off of that? I guess, maybe. By the way, guys, Johnny Manziel was almost 2 inches taller than Diego Pavia. Johnny Manziel was a hair under 6 foot tall, actually. 5'11" and 3/4. Johnny's a short quarterback. He's taller than Russell Wilson. But their games, very similar. Very similar. So Johnny was on with Colin Cowherd. He made some comments, and I was surprised, actually a little shocked by something Johnny said about Diego.
Got to know how he was. I saw a guy that could very easily get caught up in the money that he's made, very much be out too much. So let's give you this example. After the Heisman and the weekend that I was there with him, obviously I was very vocal about him wanting to win it. I think ultimately it went to the right person in what Mendoza did, but we went out. I took him and his teammates out to Marquee in New York, and I started to see other people that he had known running signs and buying bottles with negative things to say about the Heisman or this and that irked me. So I didn't talk to him for a couple of days after that. I let him go back home and deal with the shame that he had to for making that and doing that on his own. And then when I spoke to him, I hit him up a couple of days later. I'm like, hey, listen, man, you have to do the things that I didn't do. You have to carry yourself with a little more class. You are going to be doubted. You are going to have people come at you and try and tear you apart. When you go to the combine, they may drop a binder in front of you with everything that you've done wrong since you've been in college. So you need to be prepared for this. Here's how I would answer these questions with honesty and integrity and get out in front of it and do the things that I didn't do where I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm good. What are you guys talking about? It's just in college. I'll change it. You have to actually make the changes for these people to believe in you. Diego, you're not a first-round pick. You're not a second-round pick. You're not a third-round pick. You are going to have to get into a situation, claw and fight through training camp for a roster spot, and then maybe that won't even happen. Maybe you'll be on a practice squad and you'll bounce around 3 different times. But life moving forward for Diego Pavia is going to have to be about a couple things. Who you surround yourself with and who you're getting your advice from, the work ethic that you put into the building, pretty much this. All the things that I didn't do that got my ass kicked out of the NFL in 2 years.
I got to admit, that's about the most sound I've heard Johnny Manziel be ever. I mean, that's sound advice, and I was a little shocked by, number one, the fact that Johnny was pissed off about Diego and his faction's reaction to Fernando Mendoza winning the trophy. Johnny was like, I didn't talk to him for a couple of days. I was mad. Now, Johnny won the Heisman, and he's one of the voters, right? So there's that. So there's that to consider. The other thing is, he was honest with him. Like, you're not a first, second, or third round pick. All right? You're going to be fighting to the bitter end. You might end up being on a practice squad. I've said he probably is going to end up in the UFL, where they're actively wanting him. But I will give Johnny Manziel credit. It sounds like he's been brutally honest with Diego Pavia about not only his actions and antics, but where he stands as a potential NFL quarterback. And look, are there times that outliers happen and short guys make it and this and that and the other? Yeah, I mean, the outliers are very few and far between. And one could argue there's a lot of reasons it doesn't work. Look at Tua right now. He's a husk. Husk, you don't hear that word a lot. He's a husk of his former self because he's had the crap absolutely knocked out of him. You know, I mean, he's one hit from being Mr. Potato Head, for crying out loud. He probably should retire. Part of that problem for Tua is he's not 6'3" and 228, you know? He's whatever, 5'10", or actually I think 5'10", and he's actually more Johnny size with more bulk, and it's still been concussion city, right? So there's that, and then there's arm strength and everything else. And there's the attitude, and there's the antics. So anyway, I heard that, and I was a little like, oh, Johnny was honest with him and said, look, you're not even a third-round pick, Hoss. I got to give Johnny credit for that, you know? He was like, you might be on a practice squad 3 different times. That's very true. I've said I think he goes undrafted, but I think somebody will pick him up. Do I think his game fits in certain systems? Yeah, kind of. I mean, possibly. But I will tell you this, a guy like Dylan Gabriel will be more successful than Diego Pavia if you ask me to put my money on it. Because I think a guy like Dylan could get in Kyle Shanahan's system and probably throw 25 touchdowns if you want to know the truth. Because it's like free up the first receiver, pass. Don't believe me? Well, Tua Tagovailoa and Mike McDaniel for, 2 good years there. Until this last concussion. Anyway, I thought it was interesting indeed. I was like, yeah, I'm shooting a video on this. I don't know how this turns out. It will be Diego Pavia will be the biggest story on day 3 of the draft. Will they or won't they? And I'm talking about NFL teams. Tell me what you think. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.